Well, moving right along, I want to bring out a really good friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Chris Sparrow.
Hi, I'm Chris. Hey, Chris. I like sex. Did that make anyone in here feel awkward? Yeah, me too. You think this is easy for me? It's not. It's hard. It's really hard. That's what she said. Most people's views of sex and disability just don't really mix well at all because we're taught that disability is not sexy. We equate disability with something medical or being in the hospital, which doesn't really do it for a lot of people unless you're watching two doctors get it on Grey's Anatomy. Most time what happens is you get one of three things. So one, people just don't want to hear it. No, I don't want to talk about it. No, leave it alone, which can be damaging in itself. Two, it becomes some kind of fetish thing, and there's a lot of stuff out there on the internet. So I've heard. I haven't looked at anything. Or three, it becomes some kind of sex joke based on the disability, which is okay if I say it, but don't even think about it. And so in the disability world, most people focus on barriers like housing or employment or transportation. We don't really talk about how sex can be a barrier. But sex isn't really the barrier, is it? It's more like all the assumptions that people make about people with disabilities and sex. It's more about the stigmas and the stereotypes that people have. So tonight, allow me to prove it to you. I'm going to give you a little insider information, a little kiss and tell, you might say. So first, as I alluded to with my opening line, yes, people with disabilities are interested in having sex. And yes, even people with really significant disabilities. All those same biological and psychological traits that have developed in humans over thousands of years are still there in people with disabilities. We still have that same desire to find someone who's going to love us for who we really are. And not only that, but people with disabilities, we take up the spectrum of sexuality just like people without disabilities. There's people who are gay, there's people who are straight, some people who are bi, some people who are trans. In England, there's a group of individuals with Down syndrome who perform in drag, and they call themselves drag syndrome. So there's a lot of people out there doing different types of things. And not only that, but we want to be in all different types of relationships. Yes, it's good that people are in a monogamous relationship with someone, even if it's for their entire lives, that's fine. But that doesn't mean that's the only relationships that are available to us. We want to date around. We want to be friends with benefits. We can be swingers. And so that leads me into my next stereotype, that people with disabilities can't have sex. This label is always thrown around people with disabilities. You can't learn. You can't get a job. You can't raise a family. Well, I'll tell you, people with disabilities will find a way around it. We will figure it out, especially when it comes to sex. Right? And so, that's not to say there aren't challenges, though. When I go up to kiss a beautiful woman, it makes me frustrated as hell when I run over her toes. I've ruined a lot of shoes, right? Or, you should see me doing a striptease. It's like watching an ostrich try and take off its undies. But when we get down to the act, it becomes a bit normal, right? So there's just a few sets of pulleys, chains, safety goggles, and a toaster oven. I'll let you guys figure that one out. And of course, everybody wants to know, how does it work? Does it work? And I will say, yes, I'm just like every other guy, naked, hanging upside down from a ceiling fan. Now, most of the stereotype is really just based on a lack of imagination. We live in this pumpkin spice society where we focus so much on reaching orgasm as quickly and as basically as possible that we forget to really love and appreciate the person that we're there with. Most people look at a physical disability as being a liability in the bedroom. But what if it wasn't? What if it wasn't necessarily a loss of sexuality, but a reimagination of what sexuality can be? And no, I'm not talking about anything kinky. I'm talking about appreciating and understanding your partner for all of who they are, for not taking any moments for granted. Every look, every smile, every kiss. Cherish them all, because you don't know when it's going to end.
That's what she said.
Better late than never. Now, I know we're laughing and we're having fun, and that's a good thing when we're talking about sex, but I would definitely be making a mistake if I didn't talk about some stereotypes that are truly harmful to people with disabilities. And what I'm talking about is how we tend to talk about individuals with intellectual, developmental, or cognitive disabilities like they're these eternal children. How many times have you heard someone refer to somebody with an intellectual disability by saying, oh, they have the mind of a 5-year-old, or though they're at a second grade level? We treat these individuals like they're children based on an IQ test. We limit what they can be based on this. We keep them from being in sexual relationships because, of course, you should only be in a sexual relationship if you can make mature and rational decisions about sex. And obviously, everyone without a disability makes mature and rational decisions about sex. I mean, obviously. But we treat these individuals like they're children. They're not children. They're grown adults. And if they choose to be in a sexual relationship, then we should support them just like we would support somebody without a disability. Now, I said this was a harmful stereotype. So allow me to share a statistic with you. People with intellectual disabilities are 7 times more likely to be the victims of sexual violence or abuse. Now, you can point to a lot of factors as to why this is, but for me, I look at just the lack of teaching sexual education to students with special needs. We're talking about people who never get this information, who are kept out of these classes. From my research, from what we could find, it doesn't seem like there's any school districts in South Carolina that are teaching an accessible sexual education to students with disabilities. Now, there are some school districts that have expressed interest, and there are some pockets of schools doing it out there. But it's still an uphill battle because a lot of teachers just aren't equipped to teach that. Now, not only does this population have the most to gain by getting accessible sex education, they have the most to lose by not getting it. So, what can you do? How can you improve the sex lives of people with disabilities? Well, first, I think it's about education. Educating people with disabilities, educating their parents, their families, their friends, the public, other service providers, and not just about preventing STDs or stopping sex abuse. Now, obviously, those are important, but also about how to be in a loving, caring relationship, because that's where we all want to be anyways, right? Second, redefine what it means to you to be sexy. Sexy can be inclusive. Sexy can be not perfect. Sexy is heart. That's what sexy is. There's more. And finally, if you came here tonight to broaden your perspectives, it's easy to say people with disabilities should be given accommodations in school, and people with disabilities should be let into the workforce. But change your thought process and change what's ever stopping you from acknowledging people with disabilities as being sexual beings with as much rights as people without disabilities. Get rid of whatever's holding you back from accepting that people with disabilities should be in loving relationships or one-night stands or whatever it is they want to be in. People with disabilities want to get down just like everybody else. So the next time you're out at a bar and you see someone with a disability sitting out there, go up and buy them a drink. Slip into their DMs. Or just ask them if it hurt when they fell. From heaven. Ow! Thank y'all very much. Have a good night.